called the Taycan, and as you'd expect from a Porsche, it isn't slow. This battery-powered four-door sports car can generate a monstrous 750 horsepower. And as you'd also expect from a Porsche, it isn't cheap. It costs £140,000. So if it's going to tempt buyers away from petrol at that price, it had better be good.
Special moment this, and I mean a really special moment, because Porsche make arguably the best internal combustion engine cars on the planet. Expectations are high.
And while the Taycan follows the familiar battery under the floor, motor at each end recipe used by every other fast electric car, it has to be said, this one does feel a bit different.
From the start, it feels like a Porsche. The driving position is low, the seat is just pinching my kidneys, the steering wheel is familiar, and it's so quiet. That's the thing about electric cars, because there's no engine and gearbox noise, you hear other noises, nasty noises, squeaks, tyres thrumming away, suspension pounding at the bumps. But they're all so well suppressed in here. In fact, it means I'm complaining that the rain is too noisy today. I've got noisy rain.
And underneath the surface, that familiar electric car recipe has been even more refined.
And as ever, Porsche's been learning from its exploits on the racetrack. The 919 Le Mans winner used a special Porsche-designed electric motor that's smaller and more power-dense than any rival. And that's what's appeared in this car. If it's good enough to win Le Mans, it's probably good enough for your daily commute. Oh, I mean, that is so fast. You put your foot down and you're in another dimension. And the ride comfort is superb. This is the most comfortable Porsche ever, by some margin.
But perhaps the biggest news of all is that this Taycan might just have the answer to the electric car world's greatest dilemma: charge time.
Allow me to explain. Imagine this thing here is your car battery and this is your cable from the mains. Now, the lower the voltage, the lower the pressure at which you can shove electricity from this into your car battery. Which is why regular cars take so long to charge.
But the Taycan runs at 800 volts, double the normal amount, and that means
you get a lot more pressure in your pipes, which means you can fill your battery much, much faster. You get the idea.
To put it another way, find yourself a 270 kilowatt charger and you can add 200 miles of range in just over 20 minutes.
200 miles of range in the time it takes to have a sandwich and a little comfort break. It's dead impressive, isn't it? The only problem is, do you know how many 270 kilowatt chargers there are currently in the UK? 4. 4. It's not much, is it? Once again, electric car technology is miles ahead of infrastructure. And do you know how long it would take to charge this thing if you plugged it in at home? About a day.
And there are a couple of other problems with the Taycan, starting with its size.
It's not a 5 Series sized car or a 3 Series sized car, it's sort of in between, which means the back seats really aren't very big at all, and the rear shelf is really high. I mean, there must be some electrical gubbins under there, which means there's a tiny pillar box view out the rear.
And then there's the name, because this fastest Taycan is called the Turbo S.
You can't give an electric car a turbocharger. That badge is fake news.
No, according to Porsche, turbo doesn't mean turbo anymore. It now just means really fast. So the question for the Taycan Turbo S is, just how really fast is it?
Right, Mr. Electric Porsche, launch control. So I go Sport Plus, maximum response, left foot on the brake, right foot on the throttle, and here we go. Oh my Lord! That's fast. It's just done 90 and 100 miles an hour. 120, 100. Allow me to be a little bit speechless. It's relentless. This thing will go from a standing start to the speed limit on a motorway in about 3 seconds. If that's not fast enough for you, go and take up base jumping or something. Wow.
And while most electric cars, after that sort of launch, have to go and cool down for a bit before having another go, with its higher voltage and clever motors, the Taycan can do the big acceleration thing again.
Wow!
And again.
That's 120 miles an hour. Jeepers!
And again.
Oh. It hurts my kidneys.
Better still, Porsche has pulled every engineering trick in the book to make sure the Taycan is also like no other electric car through the corners.
It's got rear wheel steering, it's got torque vectoring, it's got electromechanical roll stabilisation. The upshot is, he goes like a Porsche around a track. Wow! This thing weighs 2.4 tons. That's more than a Range Rover. It has no right to drive like this, to accelerate, stop, and change direction the way it does. We just did a smoker. We just did a smoker in a Porsche. I've never done that in an electric car before. Wow. Okay, you got my attention now, Porsche. You got my attention. This has not been done before.
Make no mistake, in this brave new world of electric cars, the Taycan is properly groundbreaking.
It's sliding. Oh!
It isn't just an incredible achievement,
The work that must have gone in.
nor is it just the best engineered, best driving electric car ever made.
Woo-hoo-hoo! I love it!
No. The Taycan is also absolute proof that our electric future won't just be fast, it'll be seriously exciting.
Electric skids. I've got a new favourite sport.